The plane that has just landed at Aden Abdulle International Airport is a Boeing 737 Combi aircraft from Nairobi with 70 passengers on board. The plane that is preparing to take off is the C-130 with 7.5 tons of cargo on board, heading to Balatwein via Baidoa, the capital of southwestern state of Somalia. These are some of the daily flights that support the United Nations mission in Somalia. The smooth operation of these flights is supported by highly skilled female professional aviation experts, commonly referred to as the Blue Angels. These are 7 incredible women who embraced the male-dominated career paths to support all UN aviation services.
All your documents are valid and okay?
They facilitate the movement of AMISOM, Somali National Armed Forces, UN passengers throughout areas of responsibility, plan and execute air medical evacuations, humanitarian aid, rotation of AMISOM troops, support UN Global Field Support Strategy and the Transportation and Movement Integrated Control Center, plus engaging in the management and administration of the UN aviation sector. But where did the term Blue Angels come from?
Color blue represents our UN colors as well as the Somali flag colors. The term angels is a novel idea based on aviation. As you know, we fly at different altitudes. In aviation, we have altitudes that go way above the clouds, such as angels fly above the clouds, so that's where the name came from. So we thought it would be a great idea to combine both and showcase the best of the best in UN aviation.
These phenomenal Blue Angels, Hilda Bengana, the Technical Compliance and Quality Assurance Officer, Adis Salim Taye, an Air Operations Officer, Dokas Amolo, the Aviation Security and Air Liaison Officer, and Asmera Sebat, Flight Operations Manager, are all based at the Aden Abdul International Airport in Mogadishu. Others are Esther Mungai, in charge of international clearances at Wilson Airport, Nairobi, Barbara Ombasa, the Aviation Services Administrator,
and Divine Bijurenda, officer in charge of aviation projects, planning and training unit.
Globally, the aviation industry is under threat from increased suicide bombers, plane hijackers forcing emergency landings, and other sorts of unexpected terror activities. Therefore, the aviation security training by Dokas Amolo comes in very handy here at Aden Abdul International Airport in Mogadishu. These AMISOM and Somali National Armed Forces trainees are some of the hundreds that Dokas Amolo, the air terminal officer, has trained in firefighting and rescue techniques.
We bring people from the different sectors to come and do the on-the-job training with already trained firefighters. I have modules. I also participate. Mine is basically procedure implementation of SOPs. So my part comes in implementation of SOPs, so I train them on the procedures.
The training was a bit challenging because firefighting, most cases need a lot of energy. Whatever equipment we use here is heavy and you need to be energetic. But I managed to do it and it was easy. I'm comfortable with it. I can carry a hose, I can carry any machine around, and I will fight the fire.
TIP is a threat image projection.
Dokas ensures that the staff are trained to ICAO, UN, and mission regulations standards operating procedures to enhance security and safety for airport facilities, staff, and passengers.
Okay.
So how is the sitting arrangement?
It's a free sitting. So.
This is one of the numerous capacity building briefings to stakeholders that Divine Bijurenda conducts. As the head of planning and aviation logistics, Divine is the first woman in UN Aviation to coordinate all rostered AMISOM Aviation Services staff for pre-deployment training. She has also facilitated one of the largest aviation services capacity building program for the African Union and AMISOM. Furthermore, Divine ensures all aviation staff are certified and current to perform their tasks.
Training is actually a budgeted function within the United Nations, and my role is to identify training avenues for staff and capacity building, especially because the area of operation that we work in, aviation, is quite versatile. So we make sure that our staff are up to date with the trend of the world. We are also guided by International Civil Aviation Organization, which dictates that there are certain minimums required for anyone to perform.
With the ultimate goal of gender sensitivity and equal opportunities for all, UNSOS encourages women to always apply for specialist technical jobs that are formerly known to be male-dominated, and the aviation section is no exception. In line with UNSOS's mandate of providing support to joint AMISOM and Somali National Armed Forces operations, Addis Salim Taye is tasked to coordinate the day-to-day air operations support based on the mission's aviation standard operating procedures. Amidst the many roles she does, she has to brief the crew on flight requirement before takeoff, which may include approval, delay, or cancellation of the flight.
As a duty officer, we must report to the office 1 hour before the first departure and coordinate, organize pre-flight briefings for the crew. And these pre-flight briefings include informations on the weather, that is from departure, en route and destination weather informations. We also brief the crew on the security situations. This will be done in close coordination with our intelligence officer. We also give the crew information on the ATOs and NOTAMs, if any, released.
Addis is a great example of what I mean by a professionally and technically savvy person. She's in charge, she's an operations officer. She's in charge of all the flight planning for the mission in Mogadishu.
UNSOS operates international passenger and cargo flights with connections to Nairobi, Wajir, and Mogadishu. Within Somalia, they fly between several sector hubs carrying out emergency medical evacuations, moving troops, food rations, and humanitarian aid. Back in Nairobi, Esther Mungai is the International Diplomatic Clearances Liaison Officer at Wilson Airport in Nairobi, responsible for assessing all international requirements for UN aircrafts to safely operate, land, or transit through countries' airspace at any Angel levels. Additionally, Esther supports all requests from UN Headquarters, Global Field Support Strategy and Transportation and Management Integrated Control Center, when planning clearance requests in support of other UN missions.
We try to push a medical evacuation to happen within the shortest time possible. The instances where the casualties, they don't have any travel document. That's a challenge in itself, because for you to get a direct permit, they have to have the travel documents so that we can bypass Wajir.
We have a very heavy demand on air medical evacuations. Many times we have to fly direct from Mogadishu to Nairobi. And because of the golden hour, which is 1 hour, where the patient can be stable or destable, we need to ensure that uninterrupted services is applied throughout. So we need those clearances, flight clearances, to be able to take off from Mogadishu and land directly into Jomo Kenyatta with our patients.
We contact Phoenix Aviation. They're the ones who usually carry out our medical evacuations, and they have to provide us with an aircraft, which are and the details that we look into: the aircraft registration number, the call sign, the crew details, and they also get in touch with AMREF for the medical crew. Out of that, I draft a note verbal, and I have to include all those details.
We have to know that you can illustrate in English.
Hilda Bengana is another aviation specialist responsible for technical compliance and quality assurance. She ensures that all contracted aircrafts and crew on UN missions are technically fit to fly and legally compliant. This include all military aircrafts under AU, AMISOM and UN oversight in Somalia.
When we contract the aircraft, it comes with crew. So we manage the crew because we have to have a certain standard, you know. So before the crew come, we check their documentation. We have a procedure and we have standards. So we check and make sure that they comply with our requirements. Just in case anything happens to the aircraft, we have all the documentation for the crew.
Good afternoon. What can I help you, sir?
Hilda's roles are supplemented by another Blue Angel, Asmera Sevat, who is responsible for recording all UN flights that land in and out of Somalia on a daily basis.
Asmara is in charge of cost recovery. She ensures that every flight that we do is costed properly, and then it gets sold for payment purposes.
We brief them how to use the aircraft use report, and we brief them that the areas that we cover. We brief them where exactly the fuel stations are, because we deal as well with fuel, and to submit papers to our office at the end of their mission.
While other Blue Angels are directly responsible for aircraft usage, Barbara Ombassa in Nairobi ensures that all their activities are well documented between Mogadishu, Nairobi, and the UN headquarters in New York. Barbara is responsible for collecting and collating all aviation services performance monthly report. This report is instrumental for situational awareness and result-based budgeting for senior leadership in the mission and UN headquarters.
Barbara is the key. Barbara is what we call the control center. Everything goes through her hands, from reports, inter-office memos, faxes. So she controls us and keeps us legal throughout the whole thing. She's actually responsible for putting out our monthly reports that goes to the leadership here, as well as New York. She's responsible for tracking all the correspondence, because there's a lot of critical items that need to be tracked down and time sensitive. So she plays a major, major role as one of our Blue Angels.
Facilitating aviation project tasks and being involved in capacity building and training activities for technical officers, and also communicating technical information is a bit unique for me compared to other experiences I have had as an administrative assistant, especially because the mission works in a high volatile environment, that is in Somalia.
However, being a Blue Angel does not end with these 7 female specialists. The UN also has the male aviation technical specialists with military and civilian aviation background, logging a combined thousands of flight hours. These include air crew, ground crew, and air medical team who fly their aircrafts day or night under night vision system in support of AMISOM. The UN's Chief Operations Officer, Dr. Silvanus Guarinda, at the Joint Mission Air Operations Center in Mogadishu commends the achievements of UNSOS aviation in gender balance.
When it comes to gender issues, I am very positive that UNSOS aviation is playing a critical role in balancing up the gender, or in coming up with the gender balance. If you look at our Kenya operations in Nairobi, we've got a lady Divine who is heading our plans and programs unit, being assisted by Barbara. And at Wilson Airport in Nairobi, we have got Esther in the technical compliance unit. Now, moving across to Mogadishu, a similar picture is in existence. In technical compliance unit again, you've got Hilda, being assisted by Asmara, another lady. If you go on to the air terminal unit, we've got Docas spearheading our AFSEC programs. And then if you move across to our unit at the Joint Mission Air Operations Center, we've got Addis, right? With a very strong background as an air traffic controller before. Now, if you look at all these ladies, they are critical pillars of UNSOS aviation.
Most of these positions are traditionally male-oriented. The percentage of women working in these areas, engineering, aviation, supply and the likes, in support of a military operation are limited. So in that respect, I think we're heading the right way. There still challenges remain, but we'll continue to push, and we're quite confident that we'll have more female staff members, because by and large, they've been terrific. The amount of the work that they do has been especially valuable to our overall effort, and has been appreciated by the mission.
So yeah, my goal is today we're 7 angels. Hopefully next year we'll be 14, the year after we'll be 21, so on and so forth. So that's the main goal here.
The Blue Angels are a dream come true for women who have excelled in professions that were mainly known to be for their male counterparts. Their contribution to the aviation industry has been complemented by many other men and women in this field within the UN and beyond.